Shalom, shalom. Just wanted to come to y'all with a video, quick message. You know, because this is something that's been on my heart heavy, and this is one of the main reasons why I'm starting my channel, Set Apart Gardens, is because I want to encourage as many black people as I can. And excuse my stuffiness, you know, I got a, you know, a little, getting over a little cold or whatever, a little sinus issues. But I want to encourage as many black people, Israelites, Hebrews, Afro-American, Negroes, whatever you want to call us. I want to encourage us to get back to the land. Reason being is because we don't own anything. You know, we back in the days when our grandparents and great-grandparents and, you know, all of our ancestors, the way they lived was off of the land. We're a people meant to live off of the land. Grow our own food. That means farming, gardening, raising livestock, raising our own meat, butchering our own meat, raising our own crops, harvesting it, and eating off the land. And the reason why there's so much disease going on nowadays with our people, versus whether it's high blood pressure, whether it's diabetes, all of these different things, is because we're so dependent on the system that has oppressed us for so long. And we go to the grocery store for everything. We go to the stores, we go to our oppressors for all of our needs, and we supply none of it. None of it. Because I talk to a lot of my you know, my and like a lot of my grandparents and my uncles and aunts, you know, a lot of people in my family, the older people especially, and they tell me how when they were growing up, their parents, you know, their parents had gardens. They raised chickens, turkeys in the backyard. You don't have to have a lot of land. All you gotta have is, you know, you can literally grow a lot of food in just a normal sized backyard. I mean, if you live in an apartment, you could garden. You can grow a couple of vegetables in little tubs. In little tubs. You know, you can grow your own potatoes. All you got to do is get a big huge tub. You know, fill it with dirt and get some seed potatoes. Literally just put them in there, water them a couple times a week, and after a month or a couple of months or so, you'll have many pounds of potatoes. Just things like that. And if you do have a little space in your backyard, you can get you a chicken coop. You can set you up a nice sized chicken coop. It doesn't have to be big. That fits you about 5 to 6. Excuse me, that's my phone. That fits you about 5 to 6 chickens, right? Back where I used to live in Virginia, I just had like a nice sized backyard. I wasn't even on an acre. It was like maybe like 0.5 acres, maybe like a half an acre that I lived on. In my backyard, it was a pretty decent sized backyard. So what I did, I started raising chickens. At first I started doing meat chickens, like raising chickens for meat. But then eventually, when I found out I could only have no more than 6 chickens, I just built me a chicken coop and got some laying hens that laid eggs for me. So I had 5 laying hens that laid 5 eggs a day. 5 eggs a day. So think about that. 5 times 7 is 40. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not that good at math, but 5 times 7 is 40, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, okay. 35 eggs a week. You know, it might give or take a little bit. Sometimes chickens won't lay an egg one day, you know, so you might have 4, or you might have 3. Or sometimes you might have 6 or 7. So just give or take 1 or 2, you know. But just think about it. I didn't have to go to the grocery store for eggs at all. And as a matter of fact, I had so many eggs that I used to give my neighbors eggs, to the point where when I would lose a chicken or something like that, and the eggs wouldn't, you know, be as much, so I wouldn't give them some. They'll be asking, hey, you know, when you go, you know what I'm saying, because I gave them eggs so much. But you know, that's just something simple. Think about how much you spend on eggs. You know, think about how many eggs you consume. That's one thing that you don't have to go to your oppressor for again. It's eggs. Not to mention vegetables. I had a little garden. I had two raised bed gardens. No, three. I had three. I had one full of herbs, and then I had one that had tomatoes, peppers, spinach, lettuce, and then I had another one that had cucumbers and collard greens, I believe. Excuse me. You know, and cucumbers grow like crazy. So I was getting a ton of cucumbers. I was getting peppers. And this was my first year gardening. Mind you, this was my first year gardening. And I still received the harvest. So what I'm saying is let's get back to the land. You know, and if you can't afford to, buy some land, buy acres. We just moved to Georgia 2 months ago, and we live on 5.8 acres. So now we're able to raise the livestock because I'm about to get sheep soon, and that way I have my own lamb meat. That way I'm gonna grow my own chickens, and eventually I'm gonna get a cow. So that'll be things that I don't have to go to the grocery store, to the meat market, to Publix, Winn-Dixie, Sam's, all of these other places for, because at the end of the day, I don't know everything that's going into those animals. And this is what we need to get back to. Our people have always been an agrarian, agriculture type of people. That's what they brought us here for, because we were skilled laborers. They didn't just pick anybody, they knew who they picked when they started taking us from the coast of West Africa, when they started taking us from Spain and Portugal, when they started taking us from Angola, Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, Togo, Sierra Leone, all of these places. When they started taking us from these places, the people of Sierra Leone, they grew rice. Those people were skilled in growing rice. What do you think the Gullah Geechee people learned? All, you know, it's in their blood. You know, they took the skilled people, the skilled laborers, because they needed skilled laborers, the skilled carpenters. We did all of this stuff. You know, they don't let them confuse you and make you think, oh, you were just a bunch of dumb Africans. If you were a bunch of dumb Africans, how would you sit here? And most of the inventions in this country, hey, you see me doing the video, most of these inventions in this country were invented by people of color, by black people, by so-called Afro-Americans, really Israelites. It was invented by us. If you look at some of the architecture, it was designed by us. If you look at a lot of the structures, the early structures, we literally built. I mean, you can go to First African Church in Savannah and look at the architecture. Freed slaves built that, downtown Savannah. And if you look at the architecture and you look at the detail and the carpentry work that it took to build it, you would see these weren't just, like they tell us we were just stupid and we were dumb and we were in the jungles and all this crazy crap. You can go back to West Africa. You can go to Nigeria. You can go to Sierra Leone. You can go to Ghana. You can see all these people. The land is so fertile over there because those people know what they're doing. You know, and it's in our blood. I've always had a passion to work the land ever since I was a child. Ever since I was a child, I always had a passion for it. When I was 16, you know, I started having chickens. You know, my dad helped me build a chicken coop in my grandma's backyard. You know, because I would go to the standard feed store with my grandma, and when I seen the little bitties, the little chickens, I fell in love and I started buying them. I started buying chickens, ducks, turkeys, and at that time I didn't really know how to, you know, really like raise them. So a lot of them would die off. But nevertheless, I still learned over time. And that's why when I finally was able to get my own house, get my own backyard, get my own land, now I'm able to do that type of thing. But we have to get back to the land, because when we're dependent on other people 100%, when you give someone your power, you give them the ability to treat you right and treat you wrong. You give them the ability to start You give them the ability to play God over you. And that's what our oppressors do. Every time something happens to us, we go to them and ask them, can they stop doing what they're doing to us? We ask them to, you know, have mercy on us. We asking them to play God over us. We have to get back to the land. Black people, get back to the land, I'm telling you. And once you do that, we'll have a lot more power and a lot more leverage. Hello?